Today on Waking Up in America, I'm talking to Brittain Kovac, a brand enthusiast, entrepreneur, world traveler, and a beautiful soul who took Dave Ramsey's challenge and became debt-free at the age of 29 so that she could focus on living her dream of building homes in Jamaica. I'm Tajci. At 19, I was a superstar and I was lost inside. I left it all behind, switched continents, and started all over. Years later, I found myself lost again, this time in the American dream. This is a story about awakening, about living the life you were created for, about going inward and discovering the joyous and purposeful person you and I are both meant to be. This is Waking Up in America. So here she is, the world traveler, Brittain, on Waking Up in America. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tajci.
So you travel the world and now you're waking up in America.
Oh,
I love it.
Feels great, right?
We met you at your house, at your parents' house in Kansas City, right?
Yes,
Kansas.
on Missouri side, yes.
On Missouri side, while we were doing concerts. What else? And you have your parents live on a farm. Your dad is a veterinarian who's got, I've never seen this, like he's got this like what would you call it?
We call it a mobile unit or an RV. It's been converted into an animal clinic.
Into an animal hospital. How
Animal
beautiful.
hospital.
I mean, I just love your mom. She handles horses and people
She does.
with the same care.
She
and love.
does. She does. And depending on the day, she's just, she loves being with her horses, and they are her delight every morning and every evening. And she works with some children at a counseling therapeutic riding center. So she uses horses to counsel children who have maybe like life-altering illnesses.
Wow.
Which is really huge.
Wow, just beautiful. And so when I first met you, you were doing a big job. I think it was with Google Fiber.
Yes,
Like that?
Google
Yes.
Fiber in Kansas City.
So you were a brand manager, and is that your passion?
I love experiential marketing. So yes, it is one of my passions, is being the brand ambassador of brands that I believe in, and we go out to events, concerts, sporting venues, and update people on the newest products, the newest automobiles, whatever the case may be, and that's been really great.
That's wonderful. And you've been, your parents, I think your dad always, tells, and this is the most important thing. You have Croatian blood, right? Your dad.
Kovac.
Croatian.
Kovac.
Of course.
Yes. Am I your first Croatian on the show?
No, I already had some.
First one
That's
this
all right.
year.
First one from Kansas. Yes, first one
there we
this
go.
year. And so you always had this entrepreneurial sense, and also serving. You started going on mission trips when you were very young.
Yes, I was 13 or 14. It was 1999, the first time I went on a mission trip with my church to the heart of Jamaica, and it literally changed my life and kind of the direction that I had planned for my future.
So I hear a lot of young people, and you're so young, and I always want to know, waking up and having this shift in life is not just for after you've been through ups and downs and are in your 50s and then you awaken. No, I mean you can really get stirred at a young age. Would you say that was your first stirring?
That was the start of it, but I didn't know it at that time. I didn't know it in 1999. It was a few years later. I went back every year, sometimes every other year, and every year the people just tugged at my heart. And every year, we would see the same people and grow up with the kids that were our age. And the first time I was there, we didn't know if we'd ever see each other again. So it was a very, very, very emotional departure. But
yes.
Once we knew that we'd be seeing each other again, we built friendships and we would see each other every year. It was probably the mid-2000s when I knew that missions and that the Jamaicans would have kind of a place in my future, but I didn't know quite then what that was going to be.
Because here you are, a girl growing up from a very nice family, a girl, you have your career, your goal, you're passionate, and then you see you come in touch with people who have a lot less than you.
Yeah. A couple things. I remember the first time we went, and it's a little different now. it's still a very underdeveloped country, but things are better than they were 15 years ago. But I remember when we first went, there was no electricity in the homes, and there was no running water, and they shared a community well. And they lived in a house that was the size of this room, and it might be anywhere from 2 to 6 people living, and it might be a grandma and 5 grandkids, and the parents may not be there. And so there was just so much distraught, and it just really touched me. And then to come back home to everything we have here, and to see the disconnect, I guess. But that's...
How did it make you feel?
like I wanted to do more.
You wanted to do more. Mm-hmm. How did it? So how did it affect what you decided to do later? I guess what I'm trying to get to is, so most recently you've actually I was at your house. We arrived to Kansas, and your dad said, "Okay, I'll see ya. I'm going on a trip with my daughter. She's taking me to Nashville." And
he didn't even know we were coming to Nashville until we went to the
that's
air.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
He just surprised.
That's right. He said he said you were going someplace.
Somewhere. Yeah.
But I think he did say that you were going to a concert.
Mm-hmm. He thought we were going to see a big country star here in Nashville. I brought my dad here to Nashville, and we went to the Dave Ramsey show.
Dave Ramsey. Now give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey is he is a radio talk show host here in the U.S., and he is a life and money coaching.
Life and money coaching.
And he is funny, and he does not mess around. He tells it how it is. So, but he's really, I was the teenager that my dad would turn on the AM radio, and I would be like, what are we listening to again? And then after so many years of listening to Dave as a teenager, I got into it, and the teachings and the lessons. I remember my 18th birthday, I went to the Best Buy and I got a credit card. That was my birthday present to myself. Oh, yes. Right? And so that was the start of the downhill to major debt.
I got to tell you a quick story. When Dante, my teenager now, was about 3 or 4 years old, he saw this commercial for these shoes that they claimed if you jumped in them, they would you would shoot up 6 feet into the air. And so he said, "Let's buy these. I want to jump 6 feet," because he always wanted to fly. And we went. So I bought the shoes, and he was so excited. He ran out in the parking lot and jumped.
Oh no!
Nothing happened. And he said, "They don't work." And I said, "But they said it would work." And I said, "Well, it's just marketing. It's kind of like if you believe, and you'll give you a strength, and then you will jump." I was trying to make it up. And he said, "But they lied." And he started crying. I said, "Why would anybody lie?" But all of this is to say that we do things, and we see how other people live, and we want to follow. We want to be part of this experience, right? That looks great on the outside. And so here you are, spending your money and racking up the debt, which happens to a lot of people, because in the search of that life to fit, right? Sure. Your friends.
Yep. Yeah. If you're not part of that, you're not part of the circle or the club, or it's what our culture tells us.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so what got you out?
I think what it was in 2009, and I was in Jamaica on a mission. I was kind of getting to that age where I was thinking about my future, and something in me changed, and I said, I'm gonna own a house in Jamaica. I'm gonna give myself 20 years to own a house. I figured that was enough time to figure out my life and, save money for the house in Jamaica. And it was 2009, and I'd already, by that time, just not much before that, started saving money and putting it towards my debt. But that became a reason. That became I call it my why. That became the real big picture reason. I had a goal to work towards. I had something, had a greater purpose to work for.
And why Jamaica?
The people. The people from 1999, from when it first began, they just tugged at my heart, and it was my home away from home. Wow. Yeah, so that's what it was initially, because I had a purpose, a reason.
That was bigger than you.
Right,
bigger than your yeah, it's wonderful because, the shift, when we allow ourselves to step away from our reality and connect with other people, and that we allow that, beautiful grace that comes and awakens us. And so you set your goal.
Right. So I set my goal, and a year later, I paid off so this is 2010, I paid off my college debt, my student loans, and some money that I had owed my dad. I paid everything off. I was completely debt-free, and that was 2010. So bringing us back to the story about when I brought my dad to Nashville in 2013, December, it was actually to tell him that I had paid off my home.
Wow,
so I paid off my school in 2010. In 2011, 3 months later, I bought a home. And then about 33 months later, I think, I paid off my home. So I was surprising my dad because it was so important to him. My dad's dad went through bankruptcy when my dad and his siblings were kids. And so that had a really big impact on their life. Yeah. So it was a special moment for us.
I know. It was beautiful. I watched it. He was so emotional. And it's a gift, to know that here you are. And Dave Ramsey said so well, he says, what a legacy now, that you've continuing from your dad, and that you didn't allow yourself to go until something really bad happened.
I learned along the process. Something else that Dave says is that we're a steward, and it's not our money, but it's God's money, and we're called to be stewards. And, one of the lessons is that when we're responsible with God's gifts, that he will reward us. And so I became responsible, and I learned from my mistakes.
And you said it was hard. It wasn't easy, right?
It was very hard.
Yeah, sacrifices.
Tons of sacrifices. Lots of, no movies, little things. Again, just like the little things added up, it was like the little things I had to say no to. So a $10 movie I had to say no to. $10 is not a lot, but $10 times 100 movies.
Right, because you can think, what's a $10? What's a Starbucks coffee?
Coffee, dinner.
So, and all of this is only possible if we're willing to, sacrifice those little pleasures, the little short-term rewards for a long-term goal. And that's exactly what you did. Step out of yourself and see the big picture for your life.
I'd always, from the mid-2000s, seen this as kind of my future. And then when I paid off, between 2011, when I bought my home, and the next couple of years, I was getting to that point in my career where I wanted to build something that would leave a legacy, that would be greater than myself, that would serve. Going back to the entrepreneurial spirit as well. What can I do to bring, how can I use my passions and my talents as an offering back?
Yes.
And that's how I'm able to, now working towards living that life that I was created to live.
Yes. So, but also, at the same time, have you experienced that when we awaken and we start giving back and we step out of our little, those short-term little pleasures and goals, and see the bigger picture and how our lives are meant to serve, really.
Absolutely.
That then more comes to you, right?
Absolutely. I often remind myself if I'm in a struggling time or whatever the case, something I say a lot to myself is to just let go and let God.
Yeah.
Because if you
it's easier sentence.
It's way easier. It is. But once I started doing that, maybe 3 months, 6 months into really believing and living that, then I saw, I could feel the strength, and I could, the reward, not the rewards, but
rewards. I would say that's a good.
But I was just, I could see how I'm not stressed when I just know that God's in control, and I might want to take this path, but I know His path is gonna.
It's good to step away but see, we can again. I always say this: it's only when we're awakened to that knowledge, to that, to that connection, to that. That's, and really we have to, for me, the only way I can do it is if I, step outside of all of this noise and in silence and stillness, and look inward and make that change within and you said it. You said it. There was a one point where you made the choice to start saving money so that you were able to live the life. And then you went around the world.
I traveled the world. That was my celebration for myself. And what you just mentioned about just stepping back a little bit. That was my time to just step away from technology and just do something and experience the cultures and the people of the places I was going. And that was so important for me because I had gotten so wrapped up in my work at one point that I needed to step back and I needed to just see where my life was taking me.
And then in Australia, you got the whole kangaroo experience.
Kangaroo, yes. Not just seeing them, I ate.
That's a little much.
Sorry.
I don't know that I would do it.
It's culture.
I guess. Yeah. So you really immersed yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Now I love your hostel with purpose.
Yes, where sleep has a purpose.
Yes, where sleep has a purpose. Because otherwise, I'm always like trying to wake up people, like, don't sleep. But here, you can sleep with purpose.
I didn't even think about that.
Feel good about being asleep.
I love sleeping. Yeah. So now
It's so good. Yeah. Well, but we all, and thanks for bringing that up. It's like one thing that goes when you get busy, when your passion takes you, like, you don't want to sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, I'll sleep when when I die or whatever. But no, sleep is so, and there's a lot of symbolism in that too. Sleep is so healing and recovering and important. And now you're even giving it a purpose. Tell us about it.
Talking about how I could, with the entrepreneurial spirit, how can I take my passions and my talents and create something to offer back? And so what that looks like is opening a hostel in Kansas City. For a future down the road to have hostels in Jamaica for mission teams. But I wanted to start home close and kind of perfect the model and, go through the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur. Yes. And so, but the cool thing about what we're doing is where sleep has a purpose. For every 300 beds that are booked, we're able to build a home in Jamaica for a family in need. So
that's beautiful.
That's
What a great idea. That's awesome. Well, I wish you to have as many as you can handle all over the world. That would be just wonderful. Because like you said, something special happens when you travel, and especially when you travel, you meet other people that are traveling. My husband Matthew always says, those who travel, they're seekers. And when you are a seeker in life, you have a lot better opportunity to awaken and to get out of, like we were talking, out of your, little perspective and see the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when I watched I think it was the trip from Morocco, at one point you say, I'm free because I'm out of debt. And of course, that's a theme. Of course, there's no better feeling of freedom than being out of debt. You don't own anything to anyone, right? Oh,
you don't have those 20-pound chains holding you down. 20,000 more.
100,000.
That's how I felt when we were shooting the music video Breathe. It actually around your house.
Yeah.
And your dad was most amazing in his big car, and I was just
cowboy hat.
His cowboy hat. And I was just sitting on the back of his Cadillac. And that's the kind of freedom I felt. I can breathe. And in that song I say, we've been lied, we've been wronged, but really I say, all I want to do is to stand tall and breathe. Because I think, through breath is when I'm able to be aware of the grace and the life that flows through me that God created us for.
Absolutely.
So. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's great to be here in your home.
All the best.
I appreciate it so much.
We'll see you again somewhere in the world, maybe Croatia.
I hope so. We should make that happen.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for too long. We've been lied to. We've been wronged. We've got nothing but bags of fool's gold. I'm done playing for the prize. I'm cutting cutting off all ropes and ties. I'm letting go